Welcome back, everybody, to more from the Saberline. So I'm here today with Jordan. How's it going, Jordan?
Pretty good.
That's good, and we're going to have a look at a pretty cool budget-style standard deck before we jump into our Berlin testing. Something that could be fun just to play around your local league, or maybe even at a cup. That is Alolan Exeggutor. We've seen Alolan Exeggutor before, Jordan, but this particular list, the one that we've put together, has some small surprises that maybe people won't be ready for.
Yeah, this list is a little more unique, and I would almost say that this deck is almost like a complete counter to Lightning decks. I don't think that Pigazek or Zapdos builds really stand much of a chance against this style of deck as long as you can actually get something going, which isn't too hard to do.
It's not too hard, yeah. So we'll have a look at our main attacker. We're choosing to run a 3-1 split of the Dragon and Grass line of Alolan Exeggutor. Both have the same attack, Tropical Shake, 20 plus 20 more for each energy, different type of energy card in your discard, up to 100. So realistically, you're going to be doing 120 most turns. We choose the Dragon one because if we play 4 Grass ones, we have a poor matchup against Blacephalon. But if we play 4 Dragon ones, then we don't have the option to knock out a Lycanroc with one shot. So giving us the 3-1 split means that we've got a bit of a shot to sneak a knockout against Lycanroc.
Yeah, the energy typing, or the typing of this Pokemon doesn't matter because it doesn't affect your energy cost, so it's really just a matter of which type you think will be better for the tournament. The split doesn't really matter too much for the way the deck works.
Yeah, it's just an interesting choice that you get to make. So Alolan Exeggutor is our main attacker. The way we're going to be powering that bad boy up, obviously 1 Grass energy isn't hard to do, but energy in the bin is slightly more difficult, so we use Shuckle's Fresh Squeezed ability and play it down onto the bench, and then search your deck for 3 basic energy and discard them. So that gets you pretty much to your requirements with 1 Shuckle. We play 2 just in case one's prized, and you can sneak yourself some extras with a second Fresh Squeezed if you are desperate.
Yeah, it's certainly not a deck that requires heaps of bench space to set up, so if you do choose to bench 2 Shuckle in the first or second turn, it really isn't that big a deal unless your opponent's trying to, say, use a Sky Scorching Light to finish off the game. That's the only time it would really punish you, but overall, this really, you don't get punished for putting this down in high numbers.
Exactly, and I mean, you're probably not going to use it, but it does have a usable attack energy drink to attach 2 basic energy cards from the discard pile. I mean, in some situations maybe it will be useful, but probably never going to use that attack. The rest of our deck is kind of just interesting techs and one-ofs. We'll start over here. We've got a 1-1 line of Zebstrika. Since we don't have any kind of support Pokemon here, Zebstrika's a pretty solid one, especially because it's another way to get those basic energies into the bin, and drawing extra cards is always good.
Yeah, that was my exact thought process when I put the Zebstrika in. I was considering going with more of a Jirachi style engine with switches, escape boards and stuff, but when I realized that was going to take up quite a bit of space, I realized the sprint is probably actually better synergy with this deck overall. As you said, being able to discard some of those extra energy cards and just increasing your draw overall is probably going to help this deck overall more than Jirachi will.
Yeah, 100%, and the good thing about it is that with our one-of copy of Alolan Muck, we can shut off other people's Jirachis without shutting off our support Pokemon, which is really, really cool. Obviously, Alolan Muck, with Power of Alchemy, shuts down basic Pokemon's abilities, and that can really, really cripple decks, especially early game.
Yeah, there really isn't any crucial basic abilities in this deck. We don't play anything like Tapu Lele to search for supporters. The only important abilities on basics are Shuckle, which we'll ideally use in the first few turns anyway, and the Ditto Prism, which will have to evolve into Muck to get Muck into play anyway, so it really isn't too much of an issue.
Yeah, and the only other one is ever going to be Marshadow with Let Loose, but normally that's either been played or doesn't have to be when Alolan Muck is in play, because Alolan Muck is shutting them down just as well. Now, we're obviously not playing the Grimer. We've got a one-of Ditto Prism to get that bad boy into play. That's good because it means we've got ourselves an extra Execute in the deck too.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to play the Ditto. Obviously, there's technically 3 different Stage 1 lines, so Ditto's a natural fit in a type of deck like this.
100%. 2 more Pokemon to look at. We've got 1 Let Loose Marshadow, because Let Loose is a good card that is fair and balanced. So you can shuffle, draw 4, Pretty good. And I think the most exciting card that we've got in this deck is a copy of Baby Buzzwole with Sledgehammer for 30 when when your opponent has 4 prizes left, does 90 more. That's 120. That's a dead Pikazek. That's a dead Zoroark.
And just like a lot of other decks that have utilized Baby Buzzwole in the past, this is a deck that plays 0GX Pokemon, so you can almost always make sure that you're going to have that Sledgehammer option available to you at least once during this game. And considering Zoroark is a little bit of a tougher matchup for this deck, Buzzwole could be that little boost that you need to come back into that matchup.
Yeah, 100%. Now, normally, after looking at Pokemon, we go to supporters, but I want to look at the energy, because you say, Jordan, that there is a specific reason for each of them, and I want to hear. Obviously, I reckon I can figure out what the Grass Energy's reason is. It's there to attack with, so that's a simple one. Similarly, we have 2 copies of Fighting. One of those copies of Fighting is going to go onto our Baby Buzzwole, but run us through the Dark, Psychic, Metal, and Fire choice.
Yeah, so I was looking through cards in the standard format to see which ones that these cards could be useful in niche scenarios, and these are the only 4 that there are stadium cards in the format that interact with these basic energy. Obviously, the most important one is going to be the Fire Energy, so that you can utilize your opponent's Heat Factory if that stays in play to draw some extra cards.
Yep.
The other 3 aren't really that useful, and they're typically going to be the first ones you want to discard with Shuffle. But due to the fact that Altar of the Moon is in format, you can use either the Dark or the Psychic Energy to retreat a little easier than you usually would have to. And of course, the Metal Energy you can get back with Mount Coronet, just in case you want to have an extra card to Ultra Ball away or something similar like that.
Yeah, so all of those energy, we're not just randomly picking them, they're all there for specific reasons. These 3 are the Dark, the Psychic, and the Metal. Obviously, the ones, like Jordan said, we'll get rid of first. And I would love to play against Blacephalon and use Heat Factory. That would make me feel so good.
It's pretty special when it happens.
It's a lovely moment. Moving into the supporter line, we've got 4 copies of Lily, 4 copies of Cynthia, 4 copies of Guzma, and a copy of Erica's Hospitality. I can see that we've really splashed out on this supporter line. There's lots of interesting text. Not quite, but it's the most consistent one for a reason, isn't it?
Yeah, it's certainly not any too unusual supporters in this deck, but I think that it is quite a bit higher counts than what we see in a lot of the other top decks at the moment. We don't really see a 4-4-4 support line, especially with an Erica as well, and that just comes from the fact that this deck isn't using a Jirachi engine, it's using Zepstriker instead, so you want to just make sure you're able to naturally draw supporters for most of the game. Obviously, there's no Tapu Lele in this deck either, so having a naturally higher supporter line is an important thing to have.
Yeah, 100%. Now, since Jordan sent me this list via PTCGO and the random things that happen when you import decks, I've got 2 different arts of Ultra Ball, but that's 4 Ultra Ball there. I didn't notice that when I was going through and fixing it up. We've got 4 copies of Ultra Ball.
Like an easy fix.
Oh, it's okay. It doesn't really matter. It's the same card. We have 3 copies of Netball and 2 copies of Netball, so it's quite a high ball count, Jordan.
Yeah, once again, you really want to make sure that you're having the most consistent outs when you've got a draw engine like this, especially since you do want to be chaining your Exeggutors over and over again. You really want to make sure you've got one of those in play at all times. And the Netball has the added bonus of being able to search for basic grass energy, which is actually a really important thing to be able to do in this deck.
Yeah, because if you need 1 grass energy every turn to attack, it's pretty important that you have it on that turn. So we'll put those Netball in there. We also have 2 copies of Rescue Stretcher. Rescue Stretcher obviously get this deck going to be used to shuffle in stuff quite a lot because we need to recycle our Exeggutor. And since it's our main attacker and we only have 4 of them, we want to make sure that we've got multiple ways to access them after they've been removed. So 2 Rescue Stretcher seems like a good count. The next 2 cards, Jordan, are the interesting ones that we might not have seen in Alolan Exeggutor before. We've got 2 copies of Max Potion. Exeggutor with a 1 energy attack cost makes it a prime target for Max Potion, especially when lots of the things in the format actually can't knock it out in one shot.
It does. You do have to be a little bit careful with Max Potion because this deck doesn't have ways of getting basic energy from the discard pile. You do need to make sure you've got enough grass energy to still be able to attack at the end of the game. But with 7 energy, I think the 2 Max Potion uses shouldn't be too hard to take advantage of, and it's really hard to one-hit KO an Exeggutor with a lot of decks, especially when they have the next card we're about to talk about. bodybuilding dumbbells, which brings them up to 200 HP.
Yeah, 200 is a big number, especially for a one prize attacker. And thinking about it, there's not a lot that actually can do 200 damage to Exeggutor. And when we're in a format where Field Blower isn't really seeing a lot of play, it means that a Pikazek deck has to do things like double Electro Power just to knock out one Alolan Exeggutor. So it's quite an interesting little tech.
Yeah, the Pikazek matchup is actually the main matchup that I think the bodybuilding dumbbell swings, because, as you just mentioned, unless they want to waste their GX attack with Pikachu, they actually just need double Electro Power to knock you out with either a Zero Aura or a Full Blitz. So
yeah, it's quite,
you can really just outbulk them.
It's quite a waste, isn't it, to use those 2 Electro Power to kill one Pokemon. Eventually you're going to get to the point where they're 2 hitting you and you're 2 hitting them. And that's a good trade to be in when you give away 1 prize and they give away 3.
Very much so, especially when you consider their decks like Zapdos, which, hey, maybe they might even have to 3 hit you.
Exactly, so an interesting card, we'll see how it goes. I actually really rate this list. I think it's really cool, because one of the problems that Exeggutor had in my experience playing games, especially against Zoroark, is that you can just kind of ace a Roller Chain and end up beating it. But the extra stuff that we've put in makes it reasonable, a suggestion to beat it.
Yeah, you can almost go for one with their Ace Rollers to your Max Potions, kind of healing on the same level they are. One card that you did forget to talk about, Mitch, at the end there was the Viridian Forest. We are playing 2 copies of that card, and
yes, I did.
besides the fact that, that's alright, besides the fact we can already search for the Grass Energy, it's actually really important to be able to search for the Fighting Energy on that one turn where Baby Buzz is at full power.
Yes, that's a really good point to make. We do need to make sure that we get that out because, Baby Buzz is a critical card on certain turns in certain matchups. Now, I didn't check what we were playing against, but...
Well, they've got a Marshadow in the active, so it could be literally anything.
It could. I think it was lightning stuff, so I suspect that it's either going to be Zapdos or a, whatchamajiggy deck, Pikazek.
Well, if it is lightning, that is very good news for this deck.
It is. So
and we've got Ultra Ball and Lily.
Yeah,
that's a very good
I
answer.
feel like we're going to get rid of probably Max Potion and this Grass. We'll have that as 1 energy. We can also shuffle this turn. We'll just have a bit of a squiz through and see what we've got. We've got all of the bad energy in deck, so we can chuck those straight in the bin.
And it's very strong being able to use Shuffle before we Lily to get all those bad cards out of our deck, so we're not going to draw into them, hopefully.
Yeah. Because, I mean, apart from retreating this Blitzel, just chuck those away.
Well, ideally, we could even Viridian Forest for, say, the Fire Energy this turn to attach to the Blitzel, and then that'll be in the discard ready for next turn when we retreat.
That is true. So let's do that. Especially since we're not playing against Blacephalon.
Yeah, I was just about to say that one of the things that I was considering with this list is is this gonna need any switch effects of any sort? But considering every Pokemon in this deck pretty much except for the Exeggutors themselves have 1 retreat, the retreat cost is actually almost beneficial.
Now here's the thing, Jordan. What we could do is we could double attach dumbbells to these Executes and then make them let loose and have 4 cards to start. How do you feel about that?
Seems pretty strong to me.
I'm happy to do that. So we'll just put those there.
We've got the Blitzel in play if we find Zeb Striker, and we've got the Viridian Forest to get the attachment next turn, so we're really not asking for that much anyway.
Here's the thing. We've just drawn the perfect 4 cards. So
seems fine.
We're going to leave it like that. And see what they can come up with. Because we could very easily have just won this game.
If it is a Zapdos deck, then I would not be surprised to see this Blitzel go down. But if that's the case, we've got the Ditto on the bench to evolve into Zeb Striker if we choose to.
Yep.
And honestly, with these supporters, we might not even need to. We might be better off getting, say, a Muck down.
Well, and here's the thing. They've got Pikazek. So we've got 3 prizes sitting there, waiting. Just waiting.
I'll be interested to see if they are smart enough to predict the Buzzwole and maybe try to skip the 4 prize turn with their GX attack. But that's pretty hard to do early in the game, so at some point I think we might be able to take advantage of that.
I feel like we're in a pretty solid spot, and most people, I imagine, when they play against Exeggutor have no idea what is going on now. It's disappointing there that we've lost access to the stadium, but not so bad because
Yeah, it is a little annoying.
I feel like I kind of want to Lily before Ultra Balling. I don't want to waste this grass. I don't want to.
It is important to keep the grass energy safe when you can. So you could either Lily or even Cynthia first.
Well,
I don't know which one to do.
Lily guarantees that we get an attack this turn, so I'm going to Lily.
Agreed. Oh boy.
There's some Cynthias, so I mean, I guess I'll get rid of a Cynthia and a Lily to get ourselves. Which one? I guess it doesn't really matter in this matchup. Let's just get.
Probably not.
Get the regular boy. He's in the picture, so we'll put him on the. We'll put him in the field. Alrighty, retreat.
Yeah, I guess that is one of the downsides to playing a high support account is that you can sometimes get hands where you just draw nothing but supporters, obviously. But it's not too big a deal.
Let's have to check.
And look at that turn. Turn 2, we're at max damage.
We are, and we've got the bodybuilding dumbbells down. So we cannot complain.
The only thing that could make this better is if we're able to get rid of that Ether Paradise, because that is a pretty annoying card in this matchup. This list doesn't play Choice Band, but wow, they actually miss an attack there, which is huge. Wasting an electric power.
Just going to hit the Cynthia. I will play down this Zeb Striker.
Didn't quite get the stadium, unfortunately. I do wonder if it's worth trying to get the stadium, or maybe even a muck this turn, which could be strong, but getting it everything out of the grass is a little annoying.
I kind of feel like I want to sit on this just for a turn.
Yeah,
ultimately, I don't think is the 20 damage going to come up. It definitely is, isn't it? Because
it means it will be 3 hitting this Zekrom, but that's not necessarily a bad thing.
No, it's not the worst thing that could have happened. It's okay.
If we're taking a 3-hit KO on a Tag Team GX, and they're taking a 2-hit KO on a non-GX, that is definitely a favourable trade for us.
We are still winning this trade, you're right.
Looks like they're going to try and get the full Blitz knockout instead of wasting their GX attack, which, if they can do, is definitely the right play.
The good thing about Zeb Striker there as well, what has just come down? Is that another Art of Pigazek? That is amazing. That promo art I've never seen. That is sick.
Now, one thing we do have to be careful of is if they do pull off the GX attack, they could knock out both of our attacking options at once and leave us with nothing in play. So I think it might be smart to, if we can, save that Ditto to become an Exeggutor if we need to.
I think you're right. I kind of want to put down the dumbbells on it now and then just shuffle draw with Cynthia.
May as well. I mean, what are they going to do? It's not like they're going to field blow all 3 of them away or anything.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect that would be the case. What else can we do? I'm going to attach a grass down here because we don't really need to worry about that.
Makes sense.
I might just leave what we've got in hand. We don't really need to do anything else.
We have been pretty fortunate this game. We haven't had to sprint away any bad cards. We've been able to draw a hand that's good enough to play each time. And one more hit, and this Pigazek is going to be down, finally.
It certainly is. We'll get rid of it. We'll see what happens here.
Looks like they are choosing the target down that execute, which is certainly a good play, but that's why we've got the Ditto ready to go.
We do, and we've got the Guzma in hand, so we get the 3 prizes this turn regardless.
I wonder where they're going to put these energy. I think they're going to put them on the active, but they did attach to that.
You would think so.
Yeah, I think the obvious play is going to be to Guzma out that benched Pikachu Zekrom and Stretcher for that execute so that they can't knock out all of their attacking options.
I think that's a good point.
The only bad thing is they have actually, without doing it on purpose, I think they have put themselves...
Yeah, without realising. Without realising, they have done exactly what they needed to do. We will Guzma up this bad boy here. And I feel like we're probably in a position where we can just Ultra Ball this stuff away and then just sprint. Try and get that extra Viridian.
If we get an Exeggutor into play, then at least they... I mean, I guess they can always kill it on the bench with the GX attack, so... It's not super good, but actually the bodybuilding dumbbells will allow the Exeggutor to live.
Yes, which seems pretty good to me, and we'll just sprint for free.
So yeah, they can't knock out both Exeggutors. I completely forgot that the bodybuilding dumbbells works on the bench. Obviously, it just increases your HP, so of course it works on the bench.
There's the poor boy. We won't get to use him. We needed that max potion this turn.
Yeah, it would have been nice, but they are
Wouldn't have
likely
anything.
just going to do 400 damage to the active anyway. I wonder if they're going to try and save the GX attack for a turn when they can take a one-hit KO on an Exeggutor. Because
Yeah.
if they do only take one prize this turn, we could potentially go for game with just a stadium replacement.
They might just sit there and be greedy and go, I don't need to tag bolt now. He's not going to knock us out. And if that's the case... Because they might go, oh yeah, full blitz, I can set up another Pigazek or I can set up another attacker. We'll wait and see.
I don't remember if the other stadium was in deck, but if it is in deck, then we can very easily win next turn. Assuming they don't GX right here.
They full blitz.
I think that's definitely the smart play on their from their point of view.
Yeah, from their
They
perspective, it's a
know
perfectly
we are
reasonable
holding-
choice.
We are holding Buzzwole Fighting Energy, which I'm sure they would not be expecting. Let's see if we can find ourselves Viridian Forest. Let's make sure it's actually in deck.
It is not there.
It is not. It's a little disappointing, but I mean,
It's still
the
worth
Buzzwole
attacking
can
with
play.
him.
Yeah, we can still actually pull off the play.
Now, my feeling is that we play down the Buzzroll and then Guzma up this fellow.
I would like that idea, except at the same time, I kind of want to hold the Guzma, just knowing that we can guarantee the win with it next turn if they don't
Yeah,
heal.
that's fair. That is fair. Alright, well, let's play down the Buzzwole and we'll attach the energy. Is there anything else that we need to do?
Pretty much just retreat, attack, and I guess evolve the execute after retreating. Is the only thing that might be worth doing.
We'll do that. And we'll just hold on to the Guzma. Sledgehammer isn't quite a knockout, mate. Well played, but not quite.
But
Oh, he'll
it
just
will
concede
be
anyway.
enough next time. Yeah, I
He'll
think
just
there's
concede anyway.
nothing they can really do about that. We were in a position where even without the Buzzwole, we'd probably go on to win that game just because of how far ahead we were, but hey, we may as well take the easy win of the Buzzwole.
And there you go, we win the X-Ball Mewtwo on the ladder. That's going to be super
card.
handy. That is a good card. Oh wait, not anymore. Let's play one more. That worked perfectly, Jordan. That was a fantastic exhibition of all of the cards that we've added in here. The only thing that can get better is if we come up against Zapdos Jirachi now and just completely shut it down with Muck. That would feel real good. Or even playing against Zoroark.
Zoroark would definitely be a tougher
This is
matchup. but
this looks like
Zapdos
it
is-
might be another electric deck. It's got metal in it. Could be Zapdos Jirachi.
Yeah, it really is just pretty crazy how much of an anti-lightning deck this is, considering you'd usually think of that as being like a fighting deck to counter lightning, but this is just a little dragon tree who's just wrecking everything that's yellow.
Yep, he just does the job every turn. He's not worried about it. He just comes in and does the business. Now we've got.
I'd be a little worried. Sand is certainly a little worrying, but not terrible.
Let's get an execute. We're top decking here, I reckon.
But as we said just before, we do have a lot of outs to being able to get a supporter, and obviously the shuffle will thin out a couple cards that aren't going to be too useful here. The the Blitzel in play means that Zeb Striker is also an out. Do you think it's worth retreating this turn?
Into what? What would we retreat into?
I mean, it's kind of awkward. It would have to be either the Exeggutor or the Ditto, most likely. I'm just thinking that the Blitzel is probably the most important thing for us to keep alive, but with the Ditto in play, actually, it doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah,
So.
I think what we might do, we might just stick the energy on, and then if anything gets knocked out, it's fine. We've got some maneuverability.
Yeah,
We should be okay.
as long as you make sure you've got 2 cards you can Ultra Ball next turn, if we top deck an Ultra Ball, I think.
Yeah, we should be fine.
Doesn't really matter what we do.
We just got to
I
hope for
am
the best here.
Now, I'm guessing this is a Zapdos list based on what we saw on the type chart, so we'll see if they are going to be getting a turn 1 knockout and what they're going to be knocking out, because I feel like it's pretty interesting what they target. Obviously, they'll take the Ditto if they can. But
Yeah, the Ditto seems like the obvious choice. Unfortunately, we find ourselves in a position where we may not be able to lock them out with Muck. That is obviously presuming that we get to play this game. But Yeah, because the Ditto is the obvious target. If that is the one that gets knocked out, then we can't muck. At least we can still... Oh, hang on. What are we going to do?
I'm going to kill the Shuckle.
We are good to go.
Shuckle is doing such a marvelous job this game.
He's a good boy, little Shuckle. He's the only one we don't care about, and he's in the bin.
That was really the best case scenario for that.
That was fantastic. And now we top deck literally anything, and we go on to crush the game. Oh, nothing.
Oh no. It's like pretty much the only dud energy still in the deck.
Yep, like a grass would have been fine. Well, what do you say?
I guess at the very least, the Exeggutor might be able to wall a turn or two if you just leave the Zapdos active and see what happens.
Yeah, we'll wait and see. We're in the fortunate position again that we can still afford a turn. But yeah, once this Zapdos gets... Oh, here goes the Ditto. Ditto's dead.
That's fine, because I think as long as we've got an out to getting a supporter off of an Ultra Ball, or obviously just drawing a supporter would also be good. There are 9 draw supporters in the deck, plus of course all the outs to Zebstrika as well.
Yeah,
plus Marshadow. There's a lot of options.
I would be happy with literally any of the multitude of cards that we could play that could get us into a nice board position here, but we'll wait and see.
I guess this will be a good opportunity to prove how good this matchup is if we can come back from a start like this. Viridian Forest at least will allow us to attack.
1, 2, 3, 4.
It's going to be enough.
It's not. We're going to be 10 short.
We just happen to have the single only energy in hand that would not do the job.
Yep, literally the only double. If we had had another one, we might have been able to get there. This is starting to look like a lost cause, Jordan.
I mean, we can at least start attacking with the Exeggutor, take a half hit on this Zapdos. It's still possible to win, I think, if we do draw out of this hand, but it's certainly not a promising start.
No, it's not amazing. 100 damage, so disappointing. Bye.
Yeah, a little bit.
That's okay. Watch this turn.
Well,
they're going to Guzma out the Blitzel here. They're going to kill it, and then we're going to top deck the Zebstrika.
Yeah, that's not ideal. Another thing we could have done on that turn is we could have held the grass, and then next turn used Viridian to discard the grass for a second grass, and that would have allowed us to start doing 120 next turn. But that assumes that they don't replace the stadium, so I don't know if that would have been the right play to make.
Not sure.
I'm guessing this Volplin's going to find an escape rope. That seems like the obvious thing. No, they're going to get switch, means they're probably hitting the active.
Well, at least then we've got another turn.
Unless they've got some crazy amount of Electro Powers. I don't know if it's even possible for Zapdos to take a knockout on Exeggutor, even with 4 Electro Powers. It would only just be enough.
It would be a hell of an experience if it happened. Especially with 200 HP. I don't think that they could possibly get there. For 120, 160, 200, I guess they can.
It is theoretically possible with quad Electro Power. I don't even see that happening right now.
Yeah, that is an expensive turn. Alright,
for one prize
give us something. Oh, it's a Cynthia. Let's go. Let's get out of here.
That.
We're playing.
Oh, we also got the Max Potion. Such a clutch card to draw.
And we got the grass as well. So
I mean, obviously the Viridian was in place. That was never a scare, but it's nice to have it.
Yeah. So well, we can do our Max Potioning, which is good. We're going to attach this here now. There's nothing we really need to stretch it for.
I would actually consider the idea of Ultra Balling for Zebstrika and then stretching the Exeggutor the Ultra Ball back into the deck.
Yeah, I was thinking that as well. Let's try that. Let's get rid of these two.
The only downside to that play...
Zebstrika's not in the...
Oh. Well, looks like we're going Marshadow then.
Yeah.
At least that means we get to save the stretcher.
That's true.
Marshadow is actually not a bad play this turn anyway, just because of the fact that they have a fairly sizable hand.
Yeah, and we're into all the draw supporters that we didn't have. So
makes sense.
We will knock out this Zapdos for 10
I would have
damage.
liked to have seen a baby egg off of that Marshadow, but it's not like this Exeggutor is going down anytime soon, so it's not a huge priority right now.
And even with a Jolteon on the bench, which he didn't Energy Evolution into, so he's either got it in hand or it's prized. Even with a Jolteon GX, they're still going to struggle to get the knockout. 200 is still tough, even with a 110 base attack instead of a 80 base. Man, it's only 3 Electro Power, but that's 3 Electro Power.
Yeah, those triple Electro Power turns, you usually want to be getting at least 2 prizes out of something like that.
Oh boy.
I guess the one thing the Jolteon does do is it would allow them to buy a turn potentially with their GX attack, doing 110 damage and kind of stopping us from damaging them for a turn. I wonder if that's what they're going to go for here.
Playing down the rescue stretcher. I'm going to grab a Zapdos. It looks like they're just going to half it. They're just going to do 80.
I mean, besides Guzmaring and killing Blitzels every turn, or they got to eventually go through this Exeggutor, and they're probably going to have to half it.
No, they are going with the Energy Evolution. They've tricked me.
I wonder if they will use the GX attack. I feel like they will. I think it makes sense to use the GX attack. And it is annoying.
It does. But there goes our Viridian Forest. They got the Thunder Mountain in play.
That is pretty funny. They had to play the extra energy onto Jolteon just to activate the ability when they didn't need the second energy in play.
Okay.
And there it is, the GX attack. So not going to be a great turn for us. So I got with the Stadium, which is funny.
Yep, we can get rid of that straight away. Now we're just going to Cynthia here. Because I need extra eggs, please. That is unbelievable.
It's not great.
We could not have drawn a worse hand.
I mean, we got an Ultra Ball. I think it could have been a little worse.
It could have been.
I would probably discard the Exeggutor since you got 2 in hand.
I think so too. And we saved the stretcher, so we're okay. We've still got the 2 stretcher in. The good thing is, this is a potential knockout soon-ish, maybe. No, it's not, because it's going to be, we're off the 4 prize turn, and it's going to probably kill us next turn with Headbolt, so that's disappointing. I think we need to do anything else. I'm just going to click the button.
I wonder if they'll actually attempt to take the knockout with Zapdos instead. It will be the tiniest bit harder to do, but I wonder what route they're going to go for here.
Yes, and this is one of the problems with a deck that doesn't have a really good inbuilt draw engine, is that we don't have access to the Zeb Striker. It means we don't have access to any cards. Could be.
And yeah, I do feel like we have been getting a little unlucky not to see as many draw supporters throughout this game, but overall, I think that it's not been. It's mainly just been the fact that the Zeb Striker being prized has slowed us down a bit.
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to goose me. Interesting.
We're in trouble. I don't know.
I would have just half hit the Jolteon there, I think.
Nah. This game's over. I reckon we're done. I reckon if we stop now, we can play one more.
Let's give that a go.
Yeah.
Bit of an unlucky hand in such a favourable matchup.
That's really
obviously Zapdos is good at kind of stopping decks from setting up though.
That is, that's true. Oh, here we go. This might be the third deck.
This is actually a familiar username. I think an Australian player, but I'm not sure who it is. I think it's a joint account between a lot of Australian players, but could be versing a decent player here, Mitch.
Oh dear. Well, I don't want to do that. I don't want to verse decent players. It's not what this channel's about.
One of the accounts that players like Henry Brand might be using, so who knows? You could be versing a regional champion right now, Mitch.
Oh no. I didn't ask for this.
Certainly not as good a hand as our first game, but much better than the last time.
Yeah, for sure. Now, here's the thing. If we're playing Henry Brand, we got to be careful. We got to look out for that pesky Giratina. Because if this is Henry, we are definitely playing against it. I don't know if it's relevant at all.
If it's not Henry, it's still quite likely going to be Henry's list if it's an account that they all share, so we'll see what happens. It's definitely a tough matchup compared to some Lightning decks that we've been versing already, but it's not unwinnable.
Not unwinnable, we can get there. And we've got a Lily
Alright,
in
it's
hand.
definitely not Henry. It's definitely not Henry. Play Lily.
Play Lily? Yeah.
That's actually a pretty bad start for them considering what's happened here. That's because they're playing Lily. If that was Elm, Henry would have been having a great time.
Yep, exactly. So, whoever it is, you should be playing Elm. Okay, I'm going to attach, I'm going to dumbbells, and then I'm going to Lily. Perfect.
That's a pretty good hand for Lily. It's unfortunate we don't have like a Zeb Striker or anything. I wonder if it's worth retreating this Exeggutor just to try and prevent the dumbbells. The thing is that the dumbbells doesn't really affect the maths on Zoroark. It's usually 2-hit KOing anyway, so maybe it's better to just maybe do 10 damage and hope they miss the knockout.
I guess. They'd have to have a really bad hand to miss the knockout.
But like the dumbbells doesn't really seem worth saving.
It's not important, yeah. So we might as well do that and force them to do something.
They certainly did have a bad hand. I don't know if it's bad enough that they don't have an energy and a Zoroark. And that is indeed the first 2 cards they play.
And then
and the Judge. Possibly might get a little punished here for not finding the Blitzel turn 1. But hey, we've got a lot of manual draw supporters, a lot of outs to getting out of this. And this seems like a fine way to do that if they do not get them.
Yeah, I'm happy with this.
Just go, yep, we don't see the muck, and once again a really weak hand from them. If we can kind of just deal with this Zoroark, maybe get a half-hit KO right now, they're going to struggle to deal with that potentially.
So I'm going to grab the Blitz, or should I get... Maybe I should just get the Ditto. I'll get the Ditto. That
Ditto's a little risky just because they might get muck out next turn, but it's not a super big difference anyway.
It's going to be fine.
Yeah, I think we just evolve to active and try and Marshadow into a Grass Energy.
That would be good, or a supporter.
Maybe both.
And you can list us. Okay. We've got
we can
some
Lily
stuff.
for 5 if we can.
We can, and let's do that.
Obviously, there's the Netball out, the Viridian City out, and of course just a Grass Energy. We do manage to find it.
Which we've got. So we will chuck that down there. Gonna put the dumbbells
One thing
on.
that is pretty funny, the dumbbells on Exeggutor doesn't really help too much against Zoroark, but it could help on a Zeb Striker later in the game.
It could actually. That is quite funny. Oh dear. Now 110, because we only have the 4. We need to make sure we get another one in there at some point.
Yeah, we are currently 1 energy off of the 2-hit KO. Is that right?
I think so.
Wait, how much damage? Oh, the Devoured Field in play actually allows us to knock them out next turn.
Yeah, it did the 110. We just need to make sure that we get the. Oh, we don't. Well, no, we're fine. They get a right beat. Here's the thing: we don't even need the Devoured Field. We can just Viridian Forest. We're gonna get rid of.
And with the Max Potion, we can find ourselves another Grass Energy to fully heal this Exeggutor.
We certainly can, and... don't attach that first, don't be stupid.
Oh.
And we still have a Fighting Energy in deck, so we can still get off the surprise... Buzzwole. Which is really exciting. Now, we don't want to play down the muck, but if we don't play down the muck, then they can turn their Ditto into something. I feel like one Zoroark is a good idea, but I want to leave it.
I wouldn't bother playing the muck down, I don't think, in this matchup. Usually it's better to get Zeb Striker. And all of a sudden, we're looking like we're in a pretty good spot this turn.
Yeah, and we've got access next turn. If they do get a knockout, we have access to the Buzzwole, the Baby Buzz, to do 120.
It would be nice if we had an energy in play to be able to retreat into Buzzwole next turn, potentially. But we've got the Guzma, so we can always pick off something on the bench with the Sledgehammer if we have to anyway.
That's true, and if they do evolve into Lycanroc, we have the Grass Alolan Exeggutor to take that as well. There's the Zoroark on the bench.
I do wonder, are they even going to be taking a prize this turn?
Well,
I mean, looking at the
here's the thing, if they want to take a prize, they're going to need to play down a Lycanroc, I feel like. There's the Muck, which is disappointing. There's the Lycanroc! We have prizes galore!
Yep, 2 prizes from a Zoroark next turn if they take a prize. And then 2 prizes on that Lycanroc at the end of the game will be enough. Actually,
I'm getting this Lycanroc right now.
Yeah, if the Grass Exeggutor is in the deck, then it's going to be pretty easy to take out that Lycanroc right now. There he is.
Oh, it's good when a plan comes together.
It's very exciting times, Mitch.
It is. It's the exact reason that we had these cards.
I don't know if
victory!
I don't know about you, but yeah. I was about to say, I think we're in a pretty good spot here against probably this deck's toughest matchup.
It is, and to know that we lost the probably the best matchup that we have, that's really exciting. It's a good deck. It's a good deck,
I think it's a very underrated deck.
Especially if you're expecting to see those three. I don't know what its Ultra Necrozma matchup would be like, but hey, if you're expecting to see lots of Lightning and lots of Zoroark, maybe this is the deck for you.
Let's just say that an Ultra Necrozma against an Exeggutor with a bodybuilding dumbbells is not a fun time for Ultra Necrozma.
No, so we'll wait and see. But yeah, definitely an exciting one. And if you're looking to get into competitive Pokemon, this is probably an excellent place to start because all of the cards in this deck are absolutely dirt cheap, apart from maybe like Cynthia and Erica's. I can't think of any other cards that are more expensive than like 50 cents. But hey, it's a good one. Thanks, Jordan, for coming along and showing this one off with us. Hopefully we can see it floating around League on the weekend.
Yeah, I think it's a really strong deck, actually, especially after those games.
Maybe we shouldn't release it. That's okay, no one's listening to this point anyway. I've had a little bit of a thing, Jordan, where at the end of the video, I've said to people, if they comment and reference the end of the video, then I know they are one of the 2% of people that watch all the way through. And so far, no one has commented. So I feel like
spicy.
We can say anything we want here. No one's listening. It's fine. Thanks for coming along, man. We'll catch you next time. And we will see everyone else for more from the Sableyes. If you like, and you comment and you subscribe, then I feel good. If you don't, then I feel bad, etc. Goodbye. Terrible outro. Terrible outro.